Alright, haven't posted a video in a while. Haven't been fishing, been busy. But on the spare time, what I've been doing is I need to get out in the water. So I'm trying, until I can get myself one of those solo kayaking rigs, which I don't know if any of you guys have looked at those. You're looking at like 3-4 grand. It's new. But I do have these 2 tandem kayaks. I'm pretty sure I can set one up to go solo on if I want to. Wouldn't be ideal, but I think it's doable. What do you guys think? Okay, so this is how they are configured usually when you got the 2 seats on here. Need to get a new plug and a new seal for this. But yeah, so obviously fixing these things up like anything is going to cost money. So to figure out if I'm actually going to be using these or if it's even, doable solo and set up like that, I'm going to just hook up the blue one first. And this is what I've got going on so far. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, you guys. Now, you see how it has the spot for the first seat, and then your feet here. Second seat, feet here. And you have the distance between the 2 clips, as you can see over here. You've got it connected here and then back here, connected there and back here, and it seats in just right. But you'll see there's an extra set here, and it's perfectly distanced if you put a seat right here in the middle, which is where you'd want to be if you were going to take this solo, and it does have a spot for the foot. I mean, what do you guys think? Obviously it's not going to be optimal, but I think that they have this set up to where you could go solo. So, as you can see, you have, the usual spot. But to sit right here, it does have the grooves right here for the feet. Same distance for the hooks. So, let's give it a shot. So now, the reason why I went with a few metal rails and then some of the plastic rails is here on the edges, sometimes when you're loading, unloading, this is the ones that are going to be more likely to scrape up on things, and I figured less damage would be with the plastic. But on the ones that are inside a little bit, I went with the metal. Now when you put these in, you want to make sure you do it right. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a drill bit that's going to be slightly smaller than the screw itself, because you want the threads to still grab. And what I did is I also added a bead of silicone and also a little bit of silicone on each screw, because those are the points that water is going to get in. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lay it out where you want, have everything lined up, mark it each hole with a marker, drill your pilot hole, add a bead of silicone, set it down. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your silicone, put a little bit on, drill it in. I might add one more. If I do, I will try and get video of that for you guys, just kind of show it. Okay, so you might be wondering, why did I go with these type of rod holders? Because they are more expensive, especially since I'm trying to save some money. Here's the way I'm thinking. If you gotta save up a little bit, but go with the rail system, go with the nice things, because your other option is what some people do is they put these in, and if you can see, that's about the size hole you're gonna have to drill into your kayak. Now you never know if you're going to want to sell a kayak, trade it with another one, or just do something different. And anything that goes in the water, I believe the less holes or the smaller holes, the better off you're going to be. So imagine you have this giant hole to fit these rod holders, or when you go with the rail system like this, you're going to have a lot smaller holes. And the holes are actually a little smaller than what these are, even, because you go a little bit smaller than the screw. And I'm going to install this one right now, and I will record it so you guys kind of get a little idea of how I do it. Okay, so the first step, what you want to do is, of course, you want to figure out where you want to put it. And in this case, we're going to go perfectly aligned with this one. You want to find an area that is going to be flat. Obviously, it just ain't going to work. So this is a good spot. It's nice and flat. Line it up, and then what you're going to want to do is, what I like to do is, hang on, let's line this up a little bit better. All right. Okay. What I like to do is I like to put a little marker on the end there, just in case I lose my spot, like I just did. I can line it back up. Now what you're going to want to do is, I like to mark all the little holes. So mark the ends, and then you're going to go through each little hole. Okay, next up is you want to grab your screws, and you're going to want to get a drill bit that is smaller than the screw, because obviously you want the threads to be able to grip this, otherwise it's just going to rip right out. So once you have your appropriate drill bit, what I like to do is go through here, just make your initial pilot holes. Now, it's always a good idea, come back, double check your work. That's where it comes in handy, putting the markers on the front and the back, is you can quickly put it on there. I like to run this through. Yep, we're lining up just right. Because sometimes what will happen is, as you go down, you might just move slightly angled. And then when you go in here, your holes will be off. So after every two, what I like to do is use your end markers that you marked, put it on there, make sure all your holes are lined up. They're lined up, go to the next. Of course, if you put your little marks in right, it should work out right, but for me, always double check. Side marker, line it up. All the holes are looking good. Get these last ones in. Okay, so let's check our work. Line it up. Right there at the end. All our holes perfectly lined up. Okay, next up. And as you can see here, that's going to fit in nicely, and to give plenty of area for this to grip. Now, always go smaller. If you're questioning the size of the bit, go smaller, because you can always go up a size. But if you go too big, you can't go back. So when in doubt, just go with a size smaller. Alright, so now we got our pilot holes drilled. The next step, what I like to do is, you're gonna want to grab your silicone, waterproof sealant. What I do is I like to throw, boy, everything's sliding everywhere. I like to put a big glob on the screw and on each hole, and that way when you screw it in, you get a little bit more of a seal. Let's put a little bit on each one here. Try and squeeze it down in there a little bit if you can. Okay, now what I like to do is put a little bit on the screws. Get both ends in first. Wipe away the excess silicone, and then go back down. Finish them up. And of course, make it look nice. Get in there. Clean it up. Boom. There you go. New rail. Much better than having to drill a giant hole. And then you can add these on here. They slide right in. Come out real easy. Alright, what do you guys think so far? Added a nice little tie down point in the front. For now, I'm going to have this GoPro set up for a camera, record me sitting there, so that should work out nicely. I've got both rod holders set up on the side with some additional tie downs if I want to have a bait bag or something hanging off the side, maybe tie off, anchor. I added these paddle holders and cup holder. The main thing you guys want to remember is when you're putting this all together, you need to remember your motions when you're kayaking here, you know. So right about that point in, you don't want to be hitting stuff. So make sure when you're placing this stuff, it is going to work out good. We'll see how this does in the water. Back here in the back, I added another little tie down point, and this, I'm thinking maybe I could put a light or flag for, you know, a marker or foggy days. or maybe a camera, I don't know, we'll see. But stay tuned, guys. We'll get this out on the water. We'll test it out and see if I can use this for now as a solo fishing kayak.